Ex-police officer, married, father of two, Jeremiah Norbert is trying to do what no politician not affiliated with the United Workers' Party has done, win the Micoud North seat. The St. Lucia Labour Party candidate has the daunting task of capturing the constituency considered an impregnable bastion of Flabo. While Micoud South has switched sides in the past, Micoud North has never wavered. Norbert, who was the guest on the primetime HTS program Straight Up with Claudius Francis, spoke fondly of his time in the police force, but the passion for politics endures.
After 6 years at the Criminal Investigations Department, I left. When I was transferred, I requested a transfer. I wanted to feel a different environment. I had a lot of the office exposure, so I wanted to get some outdoor and some field training. So I went to the drug unit where I spent 4 years. During that time at the drug unit, I met my wife. I'm married. I have two wonderful boys. Yes, my wife is a medical doctor, and we have a wonderful family. So whilst at the drug unit, as I said, I always had a passion for politics, especially in Micoud North. And I have to get back to Micoud North because, I mean, it stunned me as a young man growing up that for so many years that we've supported a certain political party, in that of the United Workers' Party. And you ask, what have you received for such loyalty? And there are not many people that you're going to speak to in the constituency, especially the more senior persons, that can point to tangible things that you can say, or the development in the constituency, and I feel like it was more or less blind following.
This will be no easy feat, and the challenge has been compounded by an unfortunate turn of events. Norbert lost part of his right leg in a motorcycle accident in February 2021. But, still brimming with idealism, he remains undaunted in his pursuit of public office. The hopeful, whose foray into politics was driven by what he describes as divine intervention, says the life-altering accident has only strengthened his resolve.
Let me tell you, to be quite honest, whilst I was on the ground after I fell off the motorcycle, whilst I was on the ground, first thing that came into my mind was my family. The politics, I'll tell you at what point the politics crossed my mind. When I got to the hospital in Tapio, even at St. Jude's Hospital, and they made mention of my possible options, and they said, I think at the time the best option that they provided was an amputation. Someone in the room asked me, is that going to affect your politics? I cannot remember, but I remember someone asked me if that's going to affect my politics. And I never thought for 1 second that the loss of a limb should or would affect anyone in their political aspirations. And when I got to Martinique, when I left St. Lucia and I got to Martinique, and I had time, you get time to sit on your bed and relax and think. People started, it started rumoring around that the St. Lucia Labour Party was looking for a new candidate because Jeremiah can no longer mount up to the task, and that he's no longer going to be the candidate. And several people started calling me and asking me, is it true that you're no longer going to be the candidate? And you know what was so interesting about it?
That was never true, though.
No, that was never true. But all the calls I got, most of the calls I got were from the constituents, from my constituents. And you know what they said? Yon pied sans pied, c'est ou nous voulez. You understand? So it just showed that. Yeah, it said, yon pied sans pied, c'est ou nous voulez.
Norbert reveals that he wants to be an exemplar for persons living with disabilities. So, how does the newcomer plan to flip a seat that has remained fiercely loyal to one political party for decades? He asserts that the main goal is to represent the interests of all the people of Micoud North. While promising to be colorblind, ideologically his vision appears in step with the SLP's social democratic mantra of a people's first public policy.
When we look at the deeper side of politics, and I look at Dr. Kenny D. Anthony, this is a man that I admired from a very tender age. I mean, I watched this man walk up onto the stage and I listened to him speak. And even when I review some of the policies that he's implemented, and some of these policies, my mother benefited from them. And these are the things that I tell people. You need to not be blind, because politics affects the lives of everybody. We cannot run away or get away from the fact that politics affects us. And that's why it hurts me as a young man to see so many young people tell you point blank that they're not interested in politics and they're just not voting because, but politics really and truly affects their lives. It affects the price of the goods in the supermarket, the fuels at the pump, the different policies. I mean, how accessible schools are, universal healthcare, all of these things, policies, these things are affected by politics and who we choose to represent us. So for me, you must have some sort of interest because it affects your livelihood.
Norbert is currently pursuing a bachelor's degree in political science at the University of the West Indies. He is pitted against a formidable opponent in two-term parliamentarian Minister for Education Dr. Gail Rigobert. Joachim Duplessis, HTS News Force.